Hi, everybody. It's Tina, and it's dinner time. And I'm going to make something super simple. I want to share with you that there's a couple of ways that I do this, but tonight I'm going to be making Japanese curry. Super easy because I use a box. Okay. I'm sure I could mix all the ingredients together, but I just swear by this. So, this is the brand. It's sold in all the local grocery stores. I buy the hot, oops, over there, hot, but you could do mild as well. So, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. I'm going to actually cook this in the microwave. I'm going to be using the Tupperware microwave pressure cooker. That's what I said, microwave pressure cooker. So it has the power of a pressure cooker, makes tender meats, but it's got the speed of the microwave. So most of your meals are done in 20 to 25 minutes. You do need about 5 to 7 minutes of what we call standing time. So sometimes I'm going to do what I do tonight, where I'm just putting it all together from the beginning with cutting up everything. But most of the time, I actually do what I call meal prep. And that means that I take a Sunday afternoon usually, and I'll prep sometimes 5 to 6 meals. And I use Tupperware, of course. Sometimes I use freezer containers. And now I've started using these silicone bags, which I just love. So literally they stand up because you can see they're flat on the bottom. And so you don't need a special stand to hold them open. And what I do is I just put them on the counter and I add all the ingredients into this as I'm dicing and chopping and putting everything together. And I even add the raw meat. And I know some people are like, oh my gosh, you put raw meat and raw vegetables together? Yes, because it's all going to cook together. And so you don't have to worry about cross contamination when it's all raw and then all cooking together. So I want to just share with you a little bit about some of the secrets of this. They are liquid tight. The way you do these is you start in the very center, just like that, and squeeze it together right where that little hole is. Now, this was a bigger one, so I probably wouldn't do that with this one, but one of our little ones, these are perfect, especially if you're a hiker, but even for kids. They can hang these off of their backpacks with snacks in them and makes it super easy for them to be able to find them. But you just start in the center and squeeze it, and then you run your fingers all the way to the edge. And you're going to want to make sure that you don't leave a gap like that. You want to make sure it's closed all the way to the very end so that you, in fact, do have a liquid type bag. Go over to the next one. And now what I do is I fold it over, kind of expressing all the extra air out of it before I squeeze that last little part of the zipper. And if you look at this, it is completely sealed all the way down from end to end. And that's going to make this guy liquid tight. Now, you can put these in the freezer. You obviously can put them in the refrigerator. You can put them in the microwave. Guess what? You can also put them in the oven. So if you've got one of those meals that they talk about just laying everything out on a tray, well, then you got to clean up a big mess. These you can just put in there and you can bake all your vegetables and everything together. So that's kind of fun. And you can actually use these in what's called sous vide cooking, which is when you put a big pot of boiling water and you put this into the pot and it actually cooks it. It's a French technique. So I want to just share something kind of fun because you might be thinking, oh, I would never be doing something French. But I have one of my team members and they camp a lot, like a lot. And she told me that she makes all of her meals up, things like chili and stew and all those kind of things, a lot of one pot meals. And she puts them inside the bags and they put them in their camper cooler. And then they have a big campfire, big cast iron kettle that they put water in and bring it to a boil. And then they put their dinner in that. And that's how they cook their dinner. So, how cool is that? That's really awesome. Great for those of you that have RVs and do some traveling as well. So, they come in 4 different sizes. They all are sold separately, but you can also get a bundle where you get one of each size. And you actually save a little bit of money when you do that. But what I love about these is how easy they are to clean because you literally just turn them inside out and you put them in the dishwasher and you can get them nice and clean, just like that. You pop that little guy all the way up. See? And then you put them in the dishwasher. Voila, they come out nice and clean. Now, for storage purposes, I like that even better because they all nest down inside of one another. So I can take this one, which is one of my favorites to use for my big meals. But I also use this when we travel. I'll put like my shampoo and suntan lotion and anything that is a lotion that I'm afraid might explode under the cabin pressurization of an airplane. because I've had that happen once, and then it takes such a mess to clean that up. So by putting it in this container, it really, if it does bust open, you've got it in a contained situation. All right, we also have this size right here. Now, obviously, you can do your meals with this. You can do your side vegetables, but I want to tell you something kind of fun. You can put a fourth of a cup of popcorn in here, no oil, no butter. Close it except for a tiny little section right there in the end. And you're going to put it into the microwave. It typically is going to take about 2.5 minutes. Every microwave's power is a little bit different. So the first time I would suggest that you stand there and listen to when it stops popping. And if you don't hear pops like after 10 seconds, then you know, okay, it's all done. And you're going to have very few of the unpopped kernels in here. How simple is that? And then guess what? You can just eat right out of the bag. It's a nice little single-sized portion. But this is going to fit right down inside, just like that. And then we have the next one. So this one is a really great size for snacks. And then again, the smaller one, I have actually used this for a little first aid kit. I packed it all together and keep that in my suitcase when we travel. So all four of them fit right down inside of one another, just like that. So like I said, they are sold in a set of four, or they all sold individually, which is great because I have a whole bunch of the larger pink ones because I use that size the most. We do have another style of our silicone bags. And just to mention, these are all food grade silicone. So they're super safe and you're going to love them. But look at these. Aren't they fun? Okay, so we've got the quart size. And then we have the sandwich size. So this is designed to replace these single-use plastics. We spend so much money on these. This is just perfect. So instead of buying these and using them and throwing them into the landfill, you can buy a couple of these and wash and reuse these over and over. You will recoup the cost on these very quickly. And then we also have this one. This is the little snack size. So these are, again, great for snacks or anything when you're on the go, or for those of you with kids or grandkids, you can put that in their lunch bag too. I actually also like these for storing cheese. So once you open up a block of cheese, put it in here. I always make sure I puff the extra air out of it. And I find it keeps my cheese really nice and fresh and soft. So these are what we call the silicone slim bags. So we got the slims and we've got the ultimate stand-up bags. So I use, again, those for meal prepping. All right, so let's get started on our curry tonight. So we're going to start by telling you a little bit about the pressure cooker. So a couple things. It has a pressure indicator right here, as you can see. And once it's under pressure, it elevates. So you never want to open it when it's elevated. And it also has this little valve, which allows the pressure to escape. And it also is going to have a lock on it. I'm going to show you how to use that. In the inside, it has a ring. And this ring is designed to give it a nice tight feel, and it helps to bring it up under pressure. And then we have this nice big container that we're going to be filling up with all of our yummies. So one of the things that I do when I come home from the grocery store is I kind of prep my meat. So I do buy family size packages. So I took a couple of chicken breasts and I just cut them into cubes, and that way they're already, sometimes I cut them into strips. So these are our freezer made containers. They come in a couple of different sizes, but this is one of my favorite sizes that you see right here. And so I just have cubed chicken in here. It's actually still a little bit frozen, but guess what? That's okay. It's going to cook inside of here. So, if you have one of those days where you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to take anything out of the freezer, don't worry about it. I put completely frozen pork chops in here before and cooked them. All right, next we're going to add, I've cut up a little bit of celery already. So we're going to add our celery, and I've got some carrots as well. And then we also have potatoes. So I am using, let me just cut this down, this great little cutting board. This is our new cutting board. It's a flex cutting board. So I just grabbed a couple of those things off of there, but there we go. One of the things that I wanted to show you, I didn't cut that all the way through. Shame on me. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is you can actually take this just like this. See how flexible it is? And just dump everything right into it, just like that. Wow. Now I've got a big, tall container. Now, you don't want to go past the fill line. That fill line is right here. So I'm just below the fill line. Okay. Now, the last thing we have to do is we have to add the curry mixture. So according to the package instructions, it says to add 2¼ cups of water with the package of mixture. And it comes in little cubes. They're kind of thick, actually. And so, a couple of tricks is I don't use water. Most of the time, when I have a recipe that calls for water and anything else, then I usually use broth. So I'm using chicken broth. Sometimes I would use beef broth if I was using beef inside of there instead of chicken, because you can do it with beef or chicken. I want to just kind of show you, I don't really have a lot of it in here. So what I did is I've learned, because if you just put the cubes in there, sometimes they don't cook all the way and you get a big clump of it and it's not very good. It's delicious, but it's just too strong. So I find that if I put my 2½ cups of broth in this big container, and then I add the cubes of curry, and I stick it into the microwave for about 3 to 4 minutes and whisk it up, it will totally cook that stuff up. All right, now all of my vegetables, you guys, were in my fridge smart, not my potatoes, they were in my potato bin. But my celery and my carrots, they were all inside of that. So I am going to take a little bit of water just to get the yumminess out of this container. Here we go. We don't want to waste any of that yumminess, right? So, and another trick I've learned is that this is actually better if you make it the day before. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put the cover on. And to put the cover on, you're going to take the little triangle that you see right there, and there's a triangle on the handle right there. So you're going to put that together, and you'll notice that the handles don't match when you do that. And so now you're just going to turn them so the handles match. And when you've done that, look at that. It's on there. But we're going to go one step further, and that is we're going to put the lock on it. So I'm just going to slide that in. Let's let you see that. And it's going to go right over here. We're going to go lock. So honestly, when I first heard about the microwave pressure cooker, I thought, first time I made it, I put the food in it, put it in the microwave, and I said to my husband, let's go outside on the lanai in case that thing blows. But it really can't, because you've got the lock and you've got the twisting mechanism. It's in there for good, you guys. So this is going to go into the microwave for about 20, I'm going to do 25 minutes because my chicken was semi-frozen. And then I'll be able to show you the finished product when we come back. So let's stick that in. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is this, the Fridge Smart. So I love my Fridge Smart. We've got it in lots of different sizes. I've just got 2 pieces here because I'm getting ready to make a salad. That's going to go with the curry. I'm going to have some rice, and we'll put the curry on the rice, and then I'm going to have a salad. And so this is a half of a cabbage. Because when I make a salad, I just like cut off just a little bit. It's purple cabbage. Gives us a little bit of color, a little bit of cabbage. But I love the Fridge Smart because it does keep your produce so fresh, so long. And the secret is this little air valve right here that you slide. And you don't need to be a scientist, because Tupperware partnered with University of Florida to determine which vegetables needed how much oxygen, and then they put it right on the container for you. So if it's something in this category, it is going to be what we call a low breather. If it's in this category, it's going to be a medium. If it's in this category, you're going to be a high breather, and you're going to just adjust the valve accordingly with the little dial that's right on the very top. So that's super easy. They come in several different sizes as well. So this one has got my romaine lettuce. I usually buy my romaine lettuce at Costco. And honestly, you guys, we can keep that lettuce fresh for weeks. I said weeks. It would last a little bit longer, but we tend to eat it all because we do make a lot of salads. So you can put things together. You don't have to have a separate container for every vegetable. You can put things together as long as they're in the same category. So I love my Fridge Smart, and between my Fridge Smart and my Freezer Mates and my silicone bags, these systems just save me so much time, save me money because I don't waste food. And they also save, oh my gosh, the amount of time because of doing the meal prep is unbelievable. And when you can buy in bulk and you don't have to keep running to the grocery store, that makes a big difference as well. So I'll be back with a picture of all of our yumminess with the yummy curry, chicken curry, when it's all done. Thanks, everybody. The microwave timer has just beeped, and it's time to get out the pressure cooker. All right, so see how the little red button is elevated? That means it's under pressure. Do not open it. And you can hear it hissing. And that's because it's hissing right out of that little valve right there. So it takes about 7 minutes or so for the pressure to come down, and then you can open it. So we will be back in just a little bit. The microwave timer has just beeped, and it's time to get out the pressure cooker. All right, so see how the little red button is elevated? That means it's under pressure. Do not open it. And you can hear it hissing. And that's because it's hissing right out of that little valve right there. So it takes about 7 minutes or so for the pressure to come down, and then you can open it. So we will be back in just a little bit. All right, the time has come. It's time for a reveal. So take a look at the little pressure indicator. It is now down. So I know sometimes we get a little bit impatient and it's up and we're waiting and we're waiting. Don't beat on it to make it deflate, because you're going to let out the steam and it needs that steam to continue cooking. All right, so here's what we're going to do now. We're going to lift up the lock just like that. And you can remove it if you want to. And then we're going to twist. Remember how we twisted it on? Now we're going to twist it off. And then always open it away from you so that all that steam does not give you a facial. And now we've got our delicious curry. Look at that. So we've got our vegetables, our chicken, and our yummy curry sauce. So to be honest, it's better the next day because it thickens up a little bit. So if you make it ahead of time, that's even better. Or you can make it and let it sit and then reheat it in about 30 minutes, and that'll thicken it up just a little bit as well. But that's what's for dinner tonight.